All right, chat, we're gonna lock in with some absolute Batman. He finally defeated Absolute Bane, bro. And I don't know if y'all know this, but the Absolute Universe, like the villains, well, actually, yeah, I do know this because y'all are the ones that put me on, but bro, they look absolutely insane. Anyways, yeah, but we're gonna check it out and see how this goes, because nah, this fight is crazy, man.
Absolute Batman finally got his revenge on Absolute Bane in the craziest way possible.
Peak fiction incoming.
So the 14th issue of Absolute Batman is finally here, which we
Bro,
all knew would be the
big ass 20 feet tall man, bro, got defeated by, yeah, because Batman in this universe doesn't have the money, so he keeps his mom, at least. Wow, yeah, thank you, bro. You took both of my parents on the regular version, and then this one you at least gave me one. Cool, but where's the money?
conclusion to this absolutely amazing
Like-
arc. But when I tell you that you're not ready for what you're about to witness, I mean it from the deepest depths of my soul. If you guys don't remember, the last issue consisted of Catwoman checking up on Bruce for the first time after he escaped Arkham by infiltrating one of their hideouts and for some reason beating the crap out of Alfred. And despite initially expressing that she needed to leave and that he didn't need her help, eventually it's revealed that Bruce wanted nothing more than for her to stick around for the night so he could give her a piece of his absolute bat
Yeah,
doll.
nah,
More than that though, the
son.
next morning he'd ask her out on a proper date where they'd both suit up into their gear and try approaching the infamous Red Hood gang.
That's tough right there, bro. See, because in the normal universe, right, he doesn't want her, or I guess he does want her, but he never like teams up with her. You know what I'm saying? He's not giving into the huzz, because at the end of the day, he's Batman no matter what. Yeah, and it is complicated, exactly. But here, yo, he's like, hey, bro, I want you to stay tonight. We're gonna go on a date and we about to kick some ass.
this Red Hood gang so they could make some sort of proposal to their leader. Unfortunately, this would prove to be a lot harder than they expected though, because it wasn't long before the gang started attacking them because they were still
Yo,
holding
her
a grudge
design is
about
tough.
Bruce denying their assistance during a previous exchange. So Catwoman pulled out her submachine gun and neutralized as many of them as she could by shooting them with sleep darts. But moments later, Bruce realized that somebody wielding an RPG was on top of a Ferris wheel ready to pull the trigger. So in a last-ditch effort to save him and Selina's lives, he decided to use the venom in his system for the very first time, which made him so strong that he was able to send the dude flying into the water after smashing into the Ferris wheel. However, using the venom didn't come without its adverse side effects, and Selina was quick to notice that it was making Bruce way angrier than he usually was.
more
So she calmed
aggressive.
him down enough so that he was able to explain why they needed the Red Hood gang's help, and even though most of the members were resistant to hear him out at first, eventually Harley Quinn would step out from among them and reveal that she was their leader.
Chops, bro. Yeah, I should have kept. Well, yeah, it's a whole different universe, right? The designs are gonna be different, but at least you know they keep the aesthetic, right? Batman is always gonna be Batman. Catwoman, you could tell is Catwoman, but yo, Harley Quinn is chopped. It's a long ass neck, bro. Damn, they should have kept her aesthetic too, bro. Low key.
Out from among them and reveal that she was their leader, expressing that if he was really serious about taking down Arkham, then she was willing to join his side. Nevertheless, the story then steps inside enemy territory where we find out that despite already being a massive ball of testosterone, Bane went through even more procedures that allowed him to reach a level of size that Dr. Arkham never even thought was possible. However, soon enough, one of the doctors in the room expressed that there was a broadcast on TV that they needed to be concerned about because apparently Batman was not only exposing their entire operation, but he was also calling out Bane to face him in a 1v1 showdown tomorrow at midnight. But knowing that he'd have to use every resource he had if he really wanted a shot at victory, Bruce eventually told Selina that whether she liked it or not, he was going to use Venom during their showdown, so Selina continued trying to convince him not to, out of belief that the side effects would turn him into a monster.
Yo, Selina, how I'ma kill him? How I'm gonna go 1v1 versus Bane? How? I gotta use the venom, bruh. Like, unless you're trying to help me out or something, but how?
But upon realizing that he wasn't gonna change his mind, she elected to part ways with him, but not without wishing him the best. And to end things off, our issue then revealed that Bruce had been leaving an ice chest full of meat outside in hopes of reuniting with Waylon and recruiting him to the team. This issue, on the other hand, picks up with Alfred trying to tell Bruce that he was about to experience the most important fight of his life, suggesting that they infuse some of the venom into his body right now to make sure that his system could handle it, and the rest of the venom could go towards Bane once he was in the ring. But Bruce was struggling to pay attention to what he was saying because his mind was being flooded by all the traumatic experiences he had to go through recently, like when he first encountered Bane, when he finally reunited with his mom, and the first time that he saw his friends after Bane ruined their lives.
Not only that, yeah, wasn't he also tortured like after that fight with him? So he had to experience that as well.
Instead of continuing to dwell on the past and letting this pain affect him negatively, Bruce chose to channel all that trauma and use it as motivation to fight even harder,
using that trauma as motivation to fight harder, bruh. Come on, bro. Some of y'all need that life lesson right there, man. Y'all let trauma defeat y'all, bro. He using it as motivation. You can never be Batman. All right, you can never be Batman with that mentality, bro. Lock in.
Motivation to fight even harder, expressing that he was ready to go to war when Alfred asked him what he wanted to do. And that's when we get an absolutely insane splash page where Bruce looks like a complete juiced up monster as massive amounts of venom are rapidly coursing through his veins.
Selena was right.
If that's something that's actually gonna happen or not, our story then jumps over to Mayor Hill making a statement on a local news broadcast about Batman's message to the city, indicating that his claims of monsters being created underneath their streets were completely false, and also expressing that the battle set to take place between him and Bane that night definitely wasn't gonna happen. But he still wanted everybody to cooperate with the 11 o'clock curfew that was implemented after the Black Mask, and that's because he actually wanted to make sure that the fight was gonna happen that night, but he didn't want anybody to know besides him and the GCPD. Nevertheless, after that, our story gives us a quick little glimpse of Jim Gordon's daughter Barbara trying to talk to Bruce through his cowl, saying that she hopes he has a damn good plan, but just moments later, we then jump over to the Arkham facility with Bane heading out to battle. Trying to make sure that he was as prepared as possible before he was gone though, Dr. Arkham would then warn him that Batman had at least one venom infusion left inside his system. However, apparently Bane wasn't worried about it and was actually hoping that that was the case, stating that if Bruce's body was able to handle that last infusion, then he'd finally be able to go home and rest. We're then given a flashback of Wayland entering the Octagon for his fight against Bibbo Babowski, which will finally give us closure on this whole agreement Bruce made with Bibbo and the Falcons.
Why are we agreeing to fight here? Like, if I heard that Bane, this 30 feet behemoth, was gonna be my, like, opponent, why am I stepping into the ring with him, bro? No.
They give us closure on this whole agreement
How is he allowed to fight
with Bibbo and the Falcons. Nevertheless, we also see Bane arriving to the field like a gladiator in a coliseum, and immediately upon entry, he wasted no time demanding to see his opposing champion. And that's when Harley and her gang of Red Hoods lit up the field by activating the stadium's power, allowing the unstoppable force to stare down the immovable object.
Ooh, oh wow, I love that he said that. I see. It's because his opponent is Batman. But again, yo, Batman, listen, yo, Bruce, I need to know what your plan is, bro. Because this matchup just is not fair. But look how he's standing, gang. Hello. Wait, this is tough.
Stare down the immovable object. Meanwhile, Alfred was in the midst of operating the Batmobile, and in the midst of doing so, he began reminding Bruce of their plan, stating that he needed to wear Bane down until he used up all his venom, which would then give Bruce the green light to start using his venom. But done with talking and ready to start the show, Bruce would then signal Harley to call a massive swarm of drones so they could record the entire battle. Unimpressed with the theatrics and ready to begin their showdown though, Bane would then emphasize that Bruce better have practiced some new techniques so they could give the world an actual spectacle, but that's when Bruce calmly stepped onto a pedal that was placed in front of his foot, causing a bunch of explosions within a nearby building to erupt, which resulted in the building collapsing in half before falling down on top of Bane. However, as Wayland began tearing into Bibbo in the past, we then realized that Bane's durability and strength was so overwhelming that he walked away from the debris with ease and was now the size of a giant. So before he could get his hands on Bruce, Alfred in the Batmobile came blazing into the stadium where he was able to catch Bane off guard by jamming two massive spears right through the back of his shoulders. So once again, proving that his strength was unmatched, Bane would then grab onto the ropes that were attached to the spears before using them to send the Batmobile flying with little to no effort. But as stated by Alfred, even though Bruce was inferior when it came to power and speed, when it came to sheer brutality, he was far more superior. And that's when Bruce leapt into the air before jamming one of his bat tendrils directly into one of Bane's eyes before ripping it off of his face. Unfortunately,
it literally ripping it out. Yeah, so he's using his size as an advantage. Well, yeah, Batman is using Bane's size as an advantage because the bigger they are, you know, they move slower and like the harder they fall. And you know, it's way easier for him to dodge. And yeah, no, that's actually really smart. Awesome, Batman Comics. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Later on it. I appreciate you, bro. Happy Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, if anybody watching this, happy Thanksgiving as well, bro. I appreciate y'all. Hey man, enjoy y'all day, spend time with family and friends, go crazy.
To the Venom though, Bane's healing factor was so overpowered that it was only a matter of seconds before he regrew another eyeball.
Never mind.
But refusing to let this discourage him, Bruce would then rip out the blades from his cowl before viciously slicing up his back with them, but upon propelling himself off of his back, the mountain-sized Bane was able to latch onto one of his tendrils before repeatedly slamming him into the ground.
Caught that boy by the cape or the tendrils, whatever it is. Oh yeah, he went like this. He grabbed it, bro. Come here, thank you. Yo, and hit him with that Hulk move. Boom, 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 boom. There's no way Bruce is getting up after this, bro. No way.
Ground. Knowing that his body had to have been massively injured at this point, Bane began daring Bruce to use his venom, believing that he didn't have any other options. To his surprise though, that's when Harley demanded her men to uncover their secret green machine, which is when the one
wow, this is so off topic, bro. Like really weird for me to say this, but you see how when he gets bigger, right, he rips through his clothes? The only thing that's covering is his pee-pee. How big y'all think he packing, bro? Cause if his body getting enlarged, you know what I'm saying? Oh no. Nah, y'all are weird for even saying that, bro. Yeah, weird. Why you think about his meat? My fault. You know, it's Thanksgiving. We gonna eat mad meat later and turkey and all that, you know what I'm saying? Oh, my bad, bro. I was thinking about meat. My bad.
Uncover their secret green machine, which is when the one and only Killer Croc came leaping into the air far above Bane's head before relentlessly biting off massive chunks of flesh and literally swallowing them whole. And meanwhile, Bruce was completely neglecting his injuries as if they weren't even there, because immediately upon regaining composure, he ripped the battle axe off of his chest and began slicing through one body part after another. But despite
I like this. I don't watch enough of these videos to realize like how aggressive this, like, and raw and gory this comic is, but bro, he's literally ripping through it. I love that, man, because they're not playing it safe. I already love this already. 10 out of 10.
One body part after another. But despite facing multiple threats at the exact same time, Bane would then wrap Bruce's entire body up in the palm of his hands before hurling him up into the air, where he'd then crash into the bleachers. Meanwhile, in the past, Bibbo Babowski was finally getting the upper hand on Waylon during their battle in the Octagon, and as Bruce began walking away, losing faith that his friend could persevere, the Falcons would then start celebrating in belief that victory was near. It doesn't take long for our story to shuffle back over to the future though, and despite seeing him take one blow after another, Harley was desperate to see Bruce jump back into the battle because Waylon was all alone. So yet again, Bruce picked up his battle axe without a single moment of hesitation before leaping off of the bleachers, desperate to save his friend. On the other hand, we also see Bruce in the past running through security, so Waylon could see that he was always gonna have somebody rooting for him in his corner. And that's when we go back over to the present with Bane desperately trying to snap Waylon's jaw in half, but refusing to let that be the outcome. Bruce would then slice through the entire upper portion of Bane's spine, immediately causing him to collapse on his knees before seemingly going unconscious. After that, he then thanked Waylon for all his help before slowly walking across Bane's back, indicating that he no longer be able to use his legs anymore because of the way that he severed his spine. And adding insult to injury, he then used his battle axe to start hacking into other parts of his body, which disabled him from using his arms, before stating that he agreed that they were actually pretty similar, but unlike Bane, he didn't break his father's back or break his father's heart. However, just when you thought the chaos was over, Bane would then undergo yet another monstrous transformation, surpassing his previous size once more.
I get it. So because some areas of his were like sliced, when he went through that transformation, it went through his skin. So now he's kind of like transforming out of his body. Oh, what the hell is that? Yo, this is tough.
Bane would then undergo yet another monstrous transformation, surpassing his previous size once more before mocking Bruce just moments later for thinking he could actually win. And after that, he'd then capitalize on his new size and strength by pummeling Bruce across the field by smashing him into the ground with one fist after another. Believing that the battle was over now, Bane would then begin relishing in his victory by expressing that Bruce was nothing and implying that it was his turn to go through war because he was done giving everything he had to make sure his people were safe. life. And as he continued pummeling Bruce into the ground, Dr. Arkham would then express that his cells had now moved beyond the ability to self-repair and had basically become embryonic, which makes sense because as you'll see from one of the panels at the bottom of the page, he quite literally begins forming teeth and eyeballs all over various parts of his body. Meanwhile, in the past, we see Wayland being victim of a chokehold as Bruce begged him to keep on fighting with all that he had, which is also when Bruce in the present day finally decides to use some venom, but not in the way that you think. Ordering Catwoman to start overloading Bane's system.
Overloading? Yes! Oh, wow, look at that. Take the shot. I got you, baby. W relationship, you know what I'm saying? Wait, that's actually such a good way to think. And that also means that Bruce cares, bro. He's willing to listen to the love of his life. Yo, W Bruce, bro. Anyways, right? Boom. She goes like, nah, don't use it. And then he goes like, nah, I'ma use it. But then they don't showcase how they gonna use it until they show us he did still use it, but not on himself, but on Bane to overload him and keep giving him venom. Fire. Wait, that's tough, bro.
To use some venom, but not in the way that you think. Ordering Catwoman to start overloading Bane's system by blasting venom-filled darts directly into his tubes, resulting in massive bursts of venom imploding from his body left and right until he was literally a pile of goo. But going back to the past again, we then see Wayland defying all odds and shocking the entire crowd because despite almost losing consciousness while Bibbo squeezed the life out of his lungs, somehow he managed to leap into the air and flip themselves upside down, resulting in Bibbo breaking his neck and allowing Wayland to emerge victorious. Nevertheless, we then go back into the past and see that Bruce did eventually agree to not use venom in the way that he originally intended because instead of using it while it was inside of his body, Eddie performed a procedure to extract it from his body before Catwoman put it inside some darts. After that though, we jump back over to present day with Bruce using his dump truck to pour all of Bane's remains into the ocean while Ozzy and Harvey watched him on the news.
Picked up his remains in a bat tractor, bruh. Look at this. That's actually kind of funny. Oh man, disrespectful, bro. Wow, that was a really great turn of events.
His dump truck to pour all of Bane's remains into the ocean while Ozzy and Harvey watched him on the news.
Wow.
Catwoman, on the other hand, was on a flight to an undisclosed location, and upon one of the flight attendants asking her if she needed help with one of her suitcases, Catwoman kindly declined her offer because it turns out that that suitcase had a tube of venom inside, and while we don't really know what she's gonna use that venom for, our story then jumps back over to Arkham staring at a creature inside of a chamber, and it turns out that that creature is actually what remained of Bane. Nevertheless, moments later, she then expressed that somebody wanted to talk to him, which is when none other than the Joker appears on screen, stating that he knew Bane was hoping he could retire soon, but he didn't believe that that would actually make him happy because he would get bored spending time with his family instead of being in constant war. So he wanted to relieve him of having to worry about Santa Prisca, which is when he then forced Bane to watch a video of him nuking the entire island. But sadly, that's when this issue comes to an end. Absolute Joker is on his freaking way, guys. Let me know what you thought of this issue. I thought it was absolutely insane, but anyway.
Oh my god, bro. He just dealt with Bane. Now he gotta deal with the Joker, but that's why I said Joker or Joker. Like, we talk about the Joker that we know, or is this the Joker? I don't know. Anyways, the Joker that we know, or the Joker that they created, which looks like a reptile or like some demon entity. I don't know.
Absolute Joker is on his freaking way, guys.
Dang.
Let me know what you thought of this issue. I thought it was absolutely insane. But anyways, if you guys want to see what happens next, let me know in the comments down below.
Yo, I want to know what happens next. There's multiple Jokers. Well, there's the Joker. Well, like, look, there's the let me see, Joker, Absolute, Batman. See this? Oh, so I guess. Oh, maybe that's just what he transforms to. I guess this is the Joker, and this is what he transforms to or looks like. I'm not sure, right? I haven't caught up, or like, I'm not constantly like watching or reading the Absolute comic book verse. I'm kind of just catching videos, so definitely some chapters got skipped. But this is what he technically looks like. No thanks. Anyways, dope video, bro. I'm not gonna lie, Character Crave. Thank you for the summary on the new chapter, bro. Appreciate you. Let me leave a like, and yeah, man, W video.